Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the TT Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. I want to thank everyone for joining me for week 4 of this sacrifice series. If you've been rocking with us this whole time, week 1, we welcomed Reverend Dr. Antoine Shine for leaning into Lent. Spirituality and sacrifice. Week 2, we discussed the mindful meditation, living with intention and sacrificial moments with Ebony Young, LPC. And then last week, our souls were quenched by Elder Carlene Lewis, who addressed sacrifice versus struggle, striking balance in romantic relationships. And as we close out, I'm happy to bring back one of my favorites. He's always going to close me out real well, my brother in Christ, rightfully known by his moniker being a serial encourager. So, mentor, counselor, speaker, and change agent Dr. Sean Cook is a licensed Christian counselor who focuses on integrating biblical principles with psychological theories to promote mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, financial, and social wellness for the total man. He holds degrees in divinity with a concentration in counseling, theology, psychology, and business leadership. He has a passion for developing well rounded individuals who are equipped to not only have well rounded and positive life experiences, but who can also, by their example, help others to do the same. He is the founder of Seed for the Soul Counseling Services and also an itinerant speaker, workshop facilitator, and leadership coach. Welcome back to Tea Time with Dr.
Yeah.
Tarver, Dr. Cook.
Dr. D, thank you for having me. I'm always having a good time. I appreciate you. Let's have some fun. Let's
Let's
do
do
that.
that. Let's do
Let's do that.
that. So, we talked about this thing and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this Lent thing got a little something in my spirit, and you always
Mm-hmm.
right there with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have too much trying to pack into a short amount of time, so we're gonna go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and jump in. So we have been in Lent for not quite a week yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that during this season, and I know that not everybody celebrates Lent, but most people do at some point think about some things that they might want to give up. And so,
Mm-hmm.
as we're in this season of sacrifice, what do you think makes it difficult for people to give up things that we know we should, but
Um, I think that first, I believe because this is the psychology of sacrifice.
yes,
Um, I
yes,
think from a cognitive perspective, just holistically, we look at it wrong. Let's
okay,
start right there. I think we're
do tell.
looking at it incorrectly. Most of the time, because I thought about it when you even told me we're going to do sacrifice, I was all excited because I like discussing what is normatively perceived as difficult topics. So when you say the word sacrifice, most of the time it's not a fun subject. You get that icky taste in your mouth. You're thinking
Mm-hmm,
about what you have to give up.
mm-hmm,
So just to set some parameters, because I'm going to build everything off of this foundational construct. So these things I'm going to say is going to be exactly where I tie my roots in from here on out.
okay,
We should first define sacrifice.
should we?
If we're pulling it in religious circles or just
Mm-hmm,
regular circles, it is simply
mm-hmm.
the act of slaughtering an animal or a person or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or a divine supernatural figure. That's from a religious perspective, just
Okay,
simply
okay, okay.
giving something up as an act of worship. Now, from a more secular perspective, a lay perspective, it is an act of giving up something that is valued for the sake of something else that is regarded as more important or worthy. I'm going to say that
Mm.
again.
Say that
It's
again.
the act of giving up something that is valued for
Mm-hmm.
the sake of something else that is regarded as more important or
Mm.
worthy.
Okay.
So giving up something you like for something you
Mm-hmm.
love, if
Oh,
we could
okay.
relate it in that
I
direction.
like
Giving up
that.
something you like for something you love, giving up something you have for something you want.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Giving up something you love because you love another.
Mm.
Are you following me?
I
We got to
got
set it
you.
right there.
I like that
Because
setup. I like that setup,
if
Cook.
we change how we view it, we
Mm-hmm.
can approach it differently.
Okay.
I'll just say this for the sake of Facebook statuses and tweets: sacrifice is nothing more than a seed.
Mm.
It's an offering or an investment as a presentation of your benevolence or love for another. That's it. It's that easy. If you look at it that way, it changes everything. It shows one of the reasons why we have such a difficult time maintaining sacrifices, even though we understand the potential benefits, is because we don't properly weight the benefits.
Oh.
WEIGHT. We don't properly
Mm-hmm.
weight the benefits. We don't place the
Okay.
value. Another thing that I learned, and I'll probably go back to this a little bit later, is from a psychological perspective, we do what is called hyperbolic discounting, which means the price of what we will have is not worth more than the price of what we do have. We have a difficulty with delayed gratification. And so what happens is we'll say, I know I'm going to get this if I give up that. But that instant gratification, it causes an incongruence between our subconscious and conscious mind. I'm going to talk a little psychologically just
Come
for a
on
moment.
and
We'll
break
use
it
it.
down for the
It
people.
causes a tension on the inside that
Mm-hmm.
we're not oftentimes prepared to negotiate. And so what
Mm.
happens is we push off or delay our investment for what we currently have. So it's almost as if you put some money in the bank, you don't allow for time for it to gain interest, you just snatch it right back out
They're taking
because
it back out.
you saw some shoes you want.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Why are you calling me out, sir? This is not
Well,
about
me
me.
too. Me too. I had some Jordans that I saw the other day. I kind of want them myself. So I think just from that perspective, just to
Mm-hmm.
coin that, I think that's
Yeah.
what happened. We look at it wrong and we don't
Mm-hmm.
properly weight what we're sacrificing for. And it
Mm.
causes us to not see the value when things get tight.
Now, see, because you know I like a good
Mm-hmm.
run back. I like a good
Mm-hmm.
run because what I'm hearing you say are a few things. One, I'm hearing you say that our value
Mm-hmm.
has not correctly been identified.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm hearing
Mm-hmm.
you also say we have bought into an identity
Mm-hmm.
that may be incongruent with the changes that we say we want to make.
Exactly. I believe one of the bigger reasons too is a lot of times we do things just because it's the thing to do. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
I was looking somewhere in preparation for this, and there was a journal. I wish I could have remembered the name of the guys, but they were talking about behaviorally induced sacrifices don't
Mm,
correlate well with psychological well-being. In other words, if I'm doing it because I'm told to do it without tying it to a purpose, it doesn't work well. It doesn't work well. It has to be tied to something. If it's not tied to
yes.
something, when I view it, it's not worth it. It causes me to be upset. I don't want to negotiate the discipline that it takes
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
engage in this over and over. And a lot of times, specifically since we are in the period of Lent, this is one of
Hmm.
the reasons why we have to stop rehearsing religion. Because when we rehearse religion, we don't get the benefits that was divinely inspired behind the instruction. I hope that makes sense. God tells us to do everything with an intention. If we do it just because somebody else told us to do it, we don't even know what intention, result, or in future standpoint or presentation that we're looking for. We're just fasting because it's Lent. If that's the case and you don't have a very pious perspective and you're not very devout in what you do, that's not going to be enough.
I think you just set some people free. First of all, the rehearsing, because
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that in our minds we feel like we should be doing something.
Yep. Yep.
So somebody somewhere along the line said, "Hey, this is a thing that you should be doing." And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing is I'm quietly resisting because
Yep.
I don't actually believe in this thing, which you said
Mm-hmm.
I should do. And so I
Mm-hmm.
keep sabotaging it.
Yep.
And then I take on this identity that, like, I'm just a person who doesn't follow through. I'm just a
Mm-hmm.
person who can't see it to the end when I
Yep.
never actually bought into what it was in the first place.
You are a person that doesn't see it through to the end. And the problem, what makes that problematic is you never defined what the end was in the first place.
My God, today.
We're just doing it just because even
Mm,
even in if I could go to from a theological perspective in any of the particular religious practices, even at best in archaic times when they slaughtered animals and whatnot
mhm,
and more pagan practices, other human beings and whatnot, there was a purpose behind it. They did it as an act of worship. They did it because they knew that the God that they were serving was going to extend some sort of favor or
mm.
benevolence on them. So we'll sacrifice here so you can be good to us for another year. We're going to bring this to you because I know that you're going to continue to protect us. In 2026, we don't have that same perspective.
Mm.
I'm fasting because the church is doing a water only fast.
Yes. Not because I even understand fasting, not because
What am I going to
fasting
get out of
connects
it?
with me,
It's
none of
just
that.
I started now. Of course, this year I didn't because church had their own collective thing. But I had started getting away from doing 21-day Daniel fast at the beginning of the year just because we just
Hmm.
gonna eat vegetables for what
Just,
like
just to be eating vegetables.
just for on day 21 at 6 p.m. or day 22, you're downing all the meat you can put your hands on. There's no end game, there's no
Mm,
purpose to it. And because it's not hooked to a thing, because
mm,
it's not set in a foundational hope, there's nothing that inspires us to continue on until
mm.
we reach whatever that destination is.
Okay, now, Cook, I got a question for you,
I'm
right?
listening.
So then what becomes the difference between understanding what my purpose is and having this conditional God is a genie relationship where I feel like I do this thing and I'm going to get this magical outcome?
I think it's just a matter of a difference in approach. I never fast without a purpose. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to even say fast because I don't want to tie it into a worship setting. We're talking about sacrifice, and that's bigger than just what happens between 11 and 1 on
Mm.
Sundays.
All
So
right.
I never sacrifice without a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give up something, I need to understand what I'm gaining on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's nothing more. Now, for those, because I know that I have a theological audience here, I will say this to you. If there is a fast that is happening, at the very minimum, hopefully, your leader or whomever it is that is calling the fast has a list of things that we are believing for when we are
Mm-hmm.
praying and setting before God. At
Mm-hmm.
least at the very minimum, there should be a corporate purpose. We're fasting because of this. We're looking for this year. We're asking God to do that. Because if you're just abstaining from eating or whatever it is that you do without a purpose, you're just choosing not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to eat. Why? And your stomach is going, well, why are we not eating? And you don't even
Mm-hmm.
have a good answer. So you may as well eat. There should be something. And then for your own personal perspective, there is nothing wrong with asking yourself, what do I want to get out of this?
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. You can
Okay.
just
Okay.
simple question. What do
Mm-hmm.
I want to get out of this? And oftentimes when you say, what do I want to get out of this? Delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart will begin to speak to you, not only what you want, but hopefully if you're aligned properly, it will be what he wants for you. Somebody said he'll give you the desires of the heart, which means he'll give you the things that you ask for. Someone else said he'll give you the
Mm-hmm.
desires of your heart, which means he will give you what your heart should be desiring.
Mm.
Two perspectives.
Okay. Okay.
Two
Okay.
perspectives. So
So
I would
for,
just say ask.
okay, so for the person who is like, okay, so and we already learned in week one by Reverend Shine that Lent is not biblical.
Mm-hmm.
However, as you said, sacrifice is.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're thinking about making these sacrifices, and we're not wanting to practice, we're wanting
Mm-hmm.
to be able to really identify what is the purpose, because ideally there is a change behavior that I want to see continue beyond
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
process of
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that are trying to start this journey, they don't necessarily have the foundation. They've just been doing what other people told them to do, and they're trying to figure out what would that look like for me. What are some practical ways that a person can begin to understand what the purpose and the why could potentially be underneath the sacrifice?
When it comes to the why, I would encourage not to negate the value of spending time
Mm,
sitting and just asking yourself, what do I want?
mm,
Because purpose is often embedded in passion, and
mhm,
passion often presents itself based on desire. And what I mean by that is, someone will say, I just really want to help kids. Desire,
mm,
passion, perhaps you would sit here to help children. Me, I'm a serial motivator. It's just what I do. I love encouraging people.
mm,
It just rolls off of me effortlessly. It presents itself. It's something I want to do. If you sit down and ask me to do it, I just want everybody to live in peace and power. That's it.
mm,
That's how I live. I want you to
mm,
be the greatest you could be who you was. And I've always been that way. That's my passion. Turns out just so happens to be my purpose too. I'm supposed to be here. Now, whatever that looks like, whatever administration that is, great, big, small, or miniature, it's still my purpose. I am the most alive when I am doing exactly what I'm doing right now, which is talking to people. Now, I found other modes to do that via acting and music and singing and support. But when I am in any type of way doing that, that's what I want to do. So sometimes it just starts with, what do I want?
Mm.
What do I want? What's my
Mm.
passion? What do I enjoy doing? You start there.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with taking a pen and a piece of paper and
Mm.
writing that down. And then going from there and maybe getting you some images of what that looks like. Could be some other people you see that are doing it and you kind of enjoy them. And all of a sudden you put that down. It's words that jump out of you. Write those down on a little piece of paper or a board. And all of a sudden you put it up somewhere where you can look at it and it stays in the front of your mind. And now we have put together a board of vision, or like some people like to call a vision board.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we have something that we're working towards. We keep it in front of us because whatever you say yes to by default, you're saying no to a whole bunch of other stuff. You only got so much time.
Now, see that right there is the word. If I want to say yes to this thing that I have this passion for, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to say no to some other things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How
And you know
can we
what?
help? Go ahead.
No, go
Because you
ahead. Say
probably
what
are,
you're gonna say.
you
No,
might be
no,
already
no.
about to spin it
No,
into that.
ask your question because I'm gonna work this in. Go ahead, ask your question, baby.
Okay, okay. So how then, when the struggle hits, because as you said, we're gonna be going through withdrawals and that secondary gain of like, oh, but I want this, right? All of that is going to be playing in my mind, and all of the
Mm-hmm.
times that I maybe have tried and I failed, I've not succeeded at this thing. When those things creep up, how am I able, or what strategies, I'll say it that way, what strategies are you able to give people to help them with the saying the no, and how that ties back in then to this purpose for why I'm sacrificing?
Okay. That's this is where I sit up a little bit because I
Mm.
gotta make sure you guys understand this. Oftentimes when we're talking, these experiences become romanticized because they sound easier than they are experienced.
Yeah,
So what
yes.
happens is you're like, oh man, he said that. That's what I'm gonna do. And then the thick of it happens, you don't realize it. The first thing you have to understand is that this is all a psychological battle. It is. We are creatures of comfort. We have to be trained to enjoy and negotiate discomfort. You won't get much of anything in comfort. As a matter of fact, the more comfort you give yourself, the more comfort you increase. I mean, the more desire, the more your desire for comfort increases. So
Mm.
you have to first understand that growth is found in discomfort. I like to work out. Some of my best workouts that have caused growth have been when I couldn't move my arms or my legs afterwards. It's just how it works. Growth goes beyond failure or
Mm.
beyond resistance. So you have to first embrace the fact that it's going to hurt a little bit. It's
Mm.
going to be a struggle. You got to be prepared for what I like to call the dance of discomfort. You got to be
Mm.
prepared for it. Next, learn to talk to yourself. So this is what I mean. Um, let me give a random example. Let's just say your purpose is to lose 50 pounds. That's the purpose. We're gonna lose 50 pounds. How are we gonna get 50 pounds? How are we gonna lose 50 pounds? Where you're gonna have to change your diet, you're gonna cut this stuff out, you gotta go to the gym, these many days a week, do these exercises. Well, there's gonna come a point where you're not gonna feel like going to the gym and everything in you is gonna scream, and you're gonna think about it. You're gonna, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't do it today. The first thing I need you to understand is it's not the actual act of going to the gym that's causing you discomfort. It's the idea of the act of going to the gym that's
Mm.
causing you discomfort. And every time you think about it, you get tired, you want to yawn. It's in that moment that you just take a step back, sit with it for about 30 seconds, and then tell yourself, it's not going to the gym that makes me feel this way. It's the idea of going to the gym that makes me feel this way. And then feel how that feels, understand those feelings, and start to talk to yourself. It's going to be okay. We're going to go anyway. And when you get there, you see, this isn't that bad. I like this. This is how I live. This is what I do. Because what happens is, oftentimes, psychologically, we don't build the proper emotional bridge between our future selves and our present selves.
Mm.
When we talk about who we want to be in the future, we often talk about it as if we're talking about another. So if I say, I'm going to do this and do this, I may as well be saying, Dr. D, you're going to do this and do that. It doesn't become real until I start speaking to myself. And so what happens is, and Jesus taught us this adjacently when he was speaking to those that were in the company of Lazarus, his body, when he died. He walks to him and they said, Jesus, if you had been here, he wouldn't have died. Jesus said, hold on, it's all good. He's gonna get up. Yeah, I know he'll get up later. Jesus said, nah, now you about to see this happen in front of you. That's typically what we do. We either set success behind us. If I'd have started earlier, I would have done this, or we set it in the future. I'll start tomorrow. We never do it for now. And what you have to do is stop saying I'm going to and start saying I am. I started the year changing some of the things that I ate. And I had a good laugh with my wife and daughter because they were asking me, like, you want to go to the spot and go get you some shrimp? I was like, nah, I don't eat like that no more. Now, mind you, they laughed because this was like, I started on January the 3rd. This was the 7th. And they were just like, dude, you just had this
It's been
last
four
week.
days.
Right. You literally just had this on the 1st. And you sit here on the 7th talking about your eat like that. And I had to tell them, I had to explain to them, no, what happens is if I speak to it as if it's something I'm going to practice, I will never practice it. It's a mindset shift. I'm telling myself, I am bringing the me I want to be to life in present day. And I am statements are powerful. I am statements are strong. And when you start to tell yourself, I can handle this and I can do this, it makes it easier for you to negotiate other things. So spend time with yourself, be prepared for struggle, and talk to yourself in the middle of it and do it anyway. Don't negotiate.
Yeah. I like
Don't
what you
put it
said
off.
about that emotional bridge because I
Mm-hmm.
do, and the romanticizing piece, because I do feel like um that's part of where the resistance is built. You mentioned like somebody tell you to do like you don't want to do it because somebody told you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then when I become the somebody that told
Mm-hmm.
me to do it, and I may have told myself to do it because the doctor said, "Hey, you need to lose that 50 pounds
Yep.
unless I'm gonna put you on this medication, or you need to
Mm-hmm.
lose that 50 pounds to get off this medication, or for
Yep.
this to stop hurting, or whatever." And so I
Mm-hmm.
might have told myself, "Hey." I'm gonna do this for me, but really I'm doing it because this doctor told me that, and I know that I need to, so I'm still battling with the
Mm-hmm.
reality of I like that stuff that I was eating.
Mm-hmm.
And I built the habit of getting up later in the day and not getting that workout in.
Yep.
And I built the habit of dessert for the meal, absolutely, because I need a little something sweet with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I am going to be fighting myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how you said it is not this thing that's hard. It's how I'm looking at this thing that makes
Yes.
it hard.
It's the psychology of
Hmm. Hmm.
sacrifice that makes it difficult for us to
Hmm.
sacrifice.
Hmm.
And once you said yes to something, this is why it's important. Once you said yes to something, this is me working that back in. Once you say yes to something, the sacrifice is produced every time you say no to something else because you are
Hmm.
giving up that opportunity because you love this opportunity more. You love this presentation more. So if you don't want the gut, you're going to have to say no to the cake that you love.
Gonna have
But
to
that
say no.
no is a sacrifice. And guess what? That no is not just a sacrifice, it is an investment into the abs that you'll show off in the summertime. See the difference?
Mm,
It's a seed and that is sown into the fertile ground of the dream that you have to get on stage and compete.
mm,
Those late nights doing homework and not going out with your friends, that's a seed of sacrifice that you're sowing for the degree that you will obtain once the end of the academic matriculation is over. This is how it works. And once you know you're doing this for that, it makes it easy for you to deal with whatever grief, pain, anguish, discomfort, or whatever comes with you saying no. Because you know that your no today is going to yield a much more proud moment of receiving and manifestation tomorrow. Paul said it like this: I reckon that the suffering of this present time
mm,
is not worthy to be compared to the glory that will be revealed in us. Paul was specifically talking about as a Christian, if we endure the hardships of not doing what everybody else does and standing for Christ, those sufferings, those tears, that tension, that aggravation can't even compare to the glory that will be shown when God reveals who we really are. Now, if we pull that out of the Bible and bring it into an existential space,
mm.
whatever God tells you to do, whatever impression you have from within is really the who God made you to be knocking on the door to come out. And so when you decide I'm going to be this person, being that person means you can't be this person. And
Mm.
whenever you sacrifice this, whenever you give up that for this, people will look at you and say, man, you do a lot. That's awesome. But they don't realize what you give up to present this version. On the
Mhm.
flip side of the coin, you give up this version to be comfortable when you choose to stay in this space. So you'll never have the abs. You won't get the degree. You won't have the head nods. The glory won't shine as bright because you're choosing to not give up this so that you can be that. I hope that makes sense. 'Cause I'm saying a lot of this and
It
that.
it 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 is because I it's making sense because I feel like so the version of me that is really the version of me, the version of
Mm-hmm.
me that God has prepared me to be, that
Mm-hmm.
version cannot exist at the same time as the version of me that isn't sacrificing the things that will allow the version of me who I'm meant to be to show up. And when you said
Mm-hmm.
they can't exist in two worlds together, that's true. Because this me that has to sacrifice that time to save that money, to not
Mm-hmm.
to buy this thing that I really want, this home or whatever
Mm-hmm.
this is, to invest in this business, to write this book,
Mm-hmm.
to have the kind of relationship that I know that I deserve, means
Mm-hmm.
that I cannot then be engaging in this other thing over here that's going to detract me from, take away from, because I can't be with this knucklehead and that be my purpose person.
Mm-hmm.
So if
And this
I'm
is true.
saying, right, like if I
That
say
is
to
true.
God, hey, I'm asking you to send me this person, but then
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here engaging with this person who is not said person,
Yep.
then I'm
Yep.
not going to be able to meet who it is that I've
You
asked
won't see
God
it.
for.
Yep.
Won't see it.
And ultimately, if it's divinely inspired, which most of our final selves of the evolution is, you'll still experience a certain level of discomfort because you'll always feel a void. I feel like I'm missing something
Mm,
because you aren't
mm,
fulfilling that thing which you were supposed to
mm,
fulfill. Another
mm.
thing I've known is that God will also send um what's the word I'm looking for? There's a technical term for it that I was going to use and it's running away from me. So I'm going to say he will send a more experienced other to model the way for us. And what I
Oh.
mean by that, if there are things that you want to do, this is why it's important that you put people in front of you that can be examples of who it is you want to be, because then you can see, you can glean from them the habits that are necessary from a day-to-day perspective so that you can move into that space. This is why books are important. This is why things are important. Paul said it like this: y'all follow me as I follow Christ. I'll be the
Mm.
example. I'm gonna show you how this goes. And then you take it, learn some of the guidelines, and then make it your own because we're not robots. But each of us can tailor ourselves for others, but we need to have a why. There needs to be an end. There needs to be a purpose on the back end. Because when you do so, you realize that self-sacrifice often extends from an existential purpose.
Mm.
It often does. There's a reason behind it. There's a meaning. There has to be a meaning for the suffering. There has to be a meaning that transforms your suffering into strength, and a meaning that transforms your loss into contribution. So you're not giving up, you're investing.
So that's the shift. That's part of
Mm-hmm.
that mental shift in the
Mm-hmm.
psychology, is that
Mm-hmm.
I have to look at what I'm gaining and not what
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing.
You have to look at it as fulfillment and not
Mm-hmm.
depletion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not releasing anything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sowing so that I can gain.
So, okay, mindful of the time. So I'm gonna get this last question in.
Okay.
How do you feel like sacrifice, right? Because sometimes we feel that if it's just for me, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, how do we feel like sacrifice can then maybe feel to people as if it's doing something productive for others as well? So it gives it a little bit more purpose, right? So people
Mm-hmm.
often are other focused and not self
Mm-hmm.
focused.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'll show up for this other person. I'll go to the gym if there's a trainer waiting on me. I'm not going to go
Mm-hmm.
to the gym if nobody is waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll show up for that other person in ways that I won't show up for myself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can one who is struggling with, I'm not enough to sacrifice for, and I maybe don't quite yet have the understanding in this relationship I have with God, how can I be able to pull something from how this can impact me in ways of interacting with other people that may also help me in this journey?
Real quick for clarity, I want to make sure I got shared meaning on your question. Are you asking? How do I tie sacrifice to others as far as a purpose, or how do I glean and utilize others as a motivation tool to gain my ability to sacrifice for self?
Ooh, it was the first one, but I like the second one too. Why don't you do two for?
Okay, all right. So the first one's pretty easy. I think that there has to be, again, a sit down with self
Mm,
and an asking for why. Because at the end of the day, what this comes down to is your ability to properly prioritize and weight your values, weight your end game. I want this, I want that. I want this, and I want it more than I want that. You see what I'm saying? There has
mm-hmm,
to be a properly, and most of the times we don't weight what is for us more than we wait for others, because you have the perception of others that we care so much about.
mm-hmm.
So because we care so much about them, we're not gonna fall off. I'll do it for you, but I want to do it for myself. Because, and this is sad, we can live with letting ourselves down.
And can.
We can negotiate with ourselves. We can feel, oh,
Mm-hmm,
that's okay, you'll get them next time, whatever.
mm-hmm,
Or so it seems. The truth of the matter is we can't, because sooner or later you overfill the cup of self disappointment,
mm-hmm.
and it becomes regret. And
Yeah.
we start beating ourselves. I just had a
Mm-hmm,
conversation with a younger brother of mine about something like that yesterday.
mm-hmm,
It becomes regret. You start saying, I should have did, I should have, should have.
mm-hmm.
So
Coulda,
the
woulda,
best thing to
shoulda.
do, yeah, the best thing to do is go ahead and bet on you. So
Mm-hmm,
first we have to flip that. We have to flip that. You have to weight the value of you over everything else. This is why
mm-hmm,
self starters and self people are so valuable in the workplace and
mm-hmm,
around people, because they don't need a kick in the pants to get going. They just get
mm-hmm,
up and they just get going.
mm-hmm.
As far as the other thing is concerned, community is important. We cannot forsake the value of community. If we're talking about, again, psychology of sacrifice, so I just reached for my boy Bandura, because I love him with his social modeling and the whole thing. What happens is, social norms are a thing, and the social impressions of others is a thing. And so what happens is, when you hang with people who are already moving in the community, are already presenting themselves the way that you would like to present yourself, you start to glean certain things. This is what I was saying earlier. You start to gain certain habits and certain things like that, which is why sometimes once you have identified a thing, it's good to find a community that engages in said thing so that you can get better at it, so that you can start to move more, so that you can start to make things happen, and you start to learn. You start to speak the language. You start to think that way. You start to act that way. And all of a sudden, you're doing it and you don't need help. And now you become the social model for someone else. So find a community. First, find you,
Yes.
and then find your tribe.
Yeah.
Find
Yeah.
you, and then your tribe.
First, know yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Got to.
get your team together, your
Yep.
mentors, your coaches, your
Mm-hmm.
whoever your accountability is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So, Dr. Cook, I know we could always go on, but I
Mm-hmm.
try to be thoughtful. Are
Mm-hmm.
there any last suggestions, tips, words of encouragement you'd like to share with our audience?
Really quickly, I want to make sure that we reset how we view sacrifice. Sacrifice is a seed. It is an investment. You're not giving up anything. You are sowing into the next version or the future self or the thing that you love. It's a seed of love. That's what it is. It is a seed of love. You are
Mm,
sowing into others, you are sowing into yourself, and you're presenting your adoration to a deity. It's a
mm.
seed. It's not it don't hurt. It ain't got a pain. That we make it so we put so
We
much of
do.
a
It's just
negative
terrible.
connotation on
Oh!
folk, like, sacrifice. No, it's a seed. It's an
Hmm.
investment. It's an
Yes.
investment in others. And living with purpose redefines sacrifice as fulfillment, not
Mm.
depletion. And that's what I
Ooh,
am with.
that's a good word. You're gonna say that
Mhm.
again.
Yeah,
Um,
living with purpose redefines sacrifice as fulfillment and not depletion. I can say it again.
yes, that's a
Yep.
good word. That's a good
Mhm.
word. Do you have any social media pages or upcoming events you'd like to share with the people?
Only thing, Dr. underscore S Cook is where you can find me on Instagram, Dr. Sean Cook on Facebook. And only other thing, I literally just like, I'm waiting on the contract. I'm gonna be Jesus in a play in April for Easter. So,
Come on,
I,
Jesus.
I'll be reprising my role again. I've done this like 3 times. So it's gonna be Port of Sanford in Decatur, Georgia. If you go to my page and my socials, you'll see the information coming up here shortly. As soon as I sign, then I get the script and we'll be rolling with it. But yeah,
This is
it's a
so
wonderful
funny.
play.
But when I think about Jesus, Jesus
Mm-hmm.
looks like you. Jesus got
That's what I want.
locks. Jesus
Mhm.
got right, like,
We
yeah,
take them off the pages and we
yep,
put them
yep,
in front of
yep,
everybody.
yep.
That's what we
Like,
do. Yep.
that's what
So
Jesus looks like to me.
I'm excited about it. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but the date moved. So I'm very excited about going back to it. It's a
Yay!
wonderful
We're super
production.
excited about that.
April 3rd and 4th.
April 3rd and 4th.
If you
Okay,
can
all
come
right.
out, come out. It is a musical. It is a wonderful
Oh, we
production.
know we love a good musicale. So you'll have
Yep.
to send me all the info
I definitely
so
will.
I can share it on my pages as well
I
with my
definitely
people
will.
because I
Thank
know
you.
they love to support you.
Hmm.
I want all of you all to put your hands together for my brother in Christ, Dr. Sean Cook. He's going to always give us a good word. He's going to break it down and make it live for us, which is why he's one of my favorite guests. I want to thank all of you who have showed up for this series, this sacrifice series. We've had some phenomenal guests on, some new faces, as well as some of my favorite returning faces. Some of you have showed up from a hometown of Grenada, Mississippi. I see our Hosey Chapel family in the chat. I want to thank you all for coming out. Some of my sorority sisters, I see you in the chat. What are we going to have on board for next month? I don't know. We're going to let the Spirit use us. But if you have any suggestions or recommendations, please feel free to drop them on my website or on my social media pages, and we can make this thing happen. As always, be sure to like, follow, and share Tea Time with Dr. Tarver on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your favorite podcast platforms. And to everyone and to Dr. Cook, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Good
me.
night. Absolutely. And y'all be well.